we really need to be moving towards local resilience, which means a lot about getting to know each other, building relationships, but also shifting systems, especially looking at our energy systems, at our food systems, at all the things, all the basic needs, and how we can really support each other to take care of them locally, because it may be more difficult in some of these changing times to get them from afar. And obviously we also need to be using less fossil fuel to take care of our climate, which means less transportation at this point. So at any rate, that's the basic idea, and this is one of our monthly potlucks and a very key issue, which Katie has really been taking the lead on, and she'll be kind of emceeing most of the program from here. We'll alternate that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So tonight's program is about the Vermont Home Energy Challenge, and this is something that is sponsored by Vermont's Public Utility for Energy Efficiency. It's sponsored by Efficiency Vermont. And we are having a real push in 2013 to weatherize 3% of our homes in Vermont. Dummerston has signed up to take this challenge. 3% of our homes in Vermont is 24 homes.
In Dummerston.
In Dummerston.
In Dummerston, thank you. These glasses aren't as smart as I thought. Okay, so anyway, 24 homes in Vermont.
Dummerston.
In Dummerston, Vermont.
Dummerston, Vermont.
and so we're Transition Dummerston is working on this in partnership with the Dummerston Energy Committee. And we want to weatherize homes. And here we have talking points about the Vermont Home Energy Challenge and what the benefits are, actions and benefits. We have a whole table here of information and handouts. And so a big thing that's involved in this Home Energy Challenge is weatherizing. There's been research to say that we lose expensive heat through uninsulated or unsealed homes.
Leaky
Leakage,
homes.
thank you, from our resident contractor here. So weatherization is the big push. And we have a benefactor in Dummerston who was so enthusiastic about this challenge that there's an anonymous donation of $2,400. And that's to help the first 24 people who sign up for an energy audit to take $100 off an already reduced cost. It's a $400 value. It can cost $150 to the first 24 people who sign up, but we'll have more about that later. What we're trying to do now is talk about weatherization through contractors, through energy groups of volunteers, and we'll let the show begin. We'll start with Geraldine Wilson.
So I'm Geraldine Wilson, and I'm the chair of your Dummerston Energy Committee. And the Dummerston Energy Committee was founded in 2008. We are a 7-member committee appointed by the Dummerston Select Board. And our charge is to keep the Select Board informed on energy issues and also to support Dummerston residents in being more energy efficient. So we actually have a mission statement, which I'll read. The committee supports the town in monitoring local important energy issues and developments and promotes energy conservation, efficiency, and increased use of renewable resources. Using education, projects, and advocacy, the Energy Committee will help Dummerston as its residents reduce their reliance on non-renewable forms of energy and achieve reductions in greenhouse gas emissions. So we're really excited about the Vermont Home Energy Challenge. It definitely supports our mission and our charge in a big way. And the Dummerston Town Plan also has a specific goal that's stated to reduce total per capita non-renewable energy consumption 40% by the year 2030. And so when you go about meeting a goal like that, you have to figure out where you are in order to figure out how much you have reduced in over a period of time. And as Paul knows very well, it's not an easy thing to do. So there are two parts to figuring out what our baseline is. One is, what does the town use? So the town office, the school, our town vehicles, and then what do the residents use? So the Energy Committee has focused the last couple years very specifically on our town buildings and fleet, our trucks. And it's really one of the things that happens when you start to gather this information is you understand where the opportunities are. So in Dummerston, when we look at energy use, the school is 90% of our energy use as a town. So all other, the town office, the town garage, the covered bridge, the street lights, the lights in the bridge, all of that is only 10% of the town energy use. Now, if you add into that the fuel that our trucks use to maintain our roads and plow the snow, it changes it a bit. It brings the school down to 58%. The fuel use is 53%. And then the town is about 7%, the town buildings. So again, it tells you where we need to focus. So I won't go into detail, but you can find out from the Dummerston Energy website, which is connected to the Dummerston Town website, the different projects that we've been involved in with helping the school become more energy efficient, dealing with street lights in the town. We have 34 street lights in the town of Dummerston. I don't know how many you have in Brattleboro. How many?
Nearly 800.
800, yes. So we should feel lucky in Dummerston that we only have 34. But I will tell you that it is not an uncomplicated effort to understand what needs to be done to street lights to upgrade them. It's quite a task, and Efficiency Vermont is a big help, big support. So in terms of gathering data on residential energy use, which is far more complex than the municipal buildings, the Energy Committee is drafting a survey that we're going to send to all town residents, and that will help us gather information about energy use in the town. And so we're really excited that Transition Dummerston has stepped forward to lead the effort of this Vermont Home Energy Challenge, because at the same time we're collecting information that's going to help inform us, we can also be helping ourselves to weatherize our homes. And really the Energy Committee sees the Home Energy Challenge as a long-term effort. So this year is the challenge is a springboard for us, but we expect to continue this effort in 2014, and maybe the challenge will again be reinitiated in 2014, I'm not sure, but even if it's not, because of all of this support that we're being able to take advantage of this year from the state and Efficiency Vermont, and also Paul Cameron as our regional coordinator, it'll really pay off in years to come, not just in 2013. So the last thing I'll say is that the overarching theme and focus for the Energy Committee is resilience. So I was really happy, Susan, to hear you mention that. And resilience is really the ability of a system to retain or rapidly regain functionality and vitality in the face of stress, disturbance, or change. It's really about bouncing back after a storm or a flood or a power outage. And so when we ask ourselves, well, what does resilience mean in Dummerston? What does it mean to be a resilient town? The three things that come to my mind right away are we as residents prepared to deal with extended power outages? Mm-hmm. Do our town services exist to support the needs of the residents? And with agricultural and ecological resources, do we know what they are and are we supporting them? So certainly the Vermont Home Energy Challenge is an effort that will help us become a more resilient town. And I'm really grateful to be part of that and to support that in every way that the Energy Committee can. So I don't know if there are any questions. I'd be happy to answer them. We can also chat afterwards.
What are your main projects you're working on right now?
One of the things, just this morning, for example, 2 members of the Energy Committee met with Lee Chamberlain because the heating system in the town garage, we're being required to upgrade that. And we did work with the town office and helped to choose a new wood stove for the town office. We're deep into a plan for new external lighting at the school that will really help to light up the areas that need to be lit up with the right kinds of lighting fixtures. And a project that we completed was new lighting in the covered bridge, which was pretty exciting when that came through. And again, the street lights, the 34 street lights in Dummerston. So there's a strip of street lights in West Dummerston along West Street. There are some street lights here, and then there are a few other places. We're very lucky to have Stan Howe, or some people may know him as Smokey, on the Energy Committee. He is a licensed electrician and just a dogged researcher, and really exciting to see what he's done to gather the information that needs to be put together to upgrade our lights in Dummerston. So anyway, that's a sampling of things.
You mentioned you're doing a survey. Are you just asking questions about energy use, or are there other questions?
Well, there are a few other questions, but it's mostly around energy. And one of the, and it relates to resilience as well, you know, part of it is knowing how things function. So even asking ourselves, well, how many square feet is my house? You know, how many square feet am I heating? And becoming aware of that is so important. You know, how do I heat my house? Well, okay, there's the heat, and then the water. How do I heat my water? And all, you know, sort of basic things. But if we really ask ourselves, do I know how my house functions? You know, but most of it is around energy. That is, you know, we're asking people about backup generators, but again, that's energy as well. And it's interesting because, so we're also grateful to have Sam Farwell on our Energy Committee, and his wife Carol is a professional survey. That's what she does for her professional work. And she took the draft of the survey and did it at coffee hour at this church that they're members of here. And so people took it as a sample, and it was amazing the questions that came up and the things that people didn't understand because of the way we had worded it or assumptions we're making. I mean, the Energy Committee, we're deep into these issues, and you really have to be able to stand back and understand things from the point of view of people that aren't thinking about these issues all the time. So that was very helpful.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it was really, really good that Carolyn mentioned thinking about energy as a whole. And one of the reasons that we're participating in Home Energy Challenge, which Carolyn's going to talk about, is that we're really concerned about the whole picture. And what we have heard again and again, which you may talk about, is that weatherization is the first step. Like, it's great to have a solar array, and that's something that has to, we do have to make those shifts to renewable, but this is kind of like the basic, let's just stop using solar energy, and then the next step for most people is the renewables. And with that, I have to say, we had a very lovely meeting right before this about a very simple way to build a batch solar water heater with Aaron Dummerston. So if anybody wants to talk about that, so this one particular project that some people in Transition Dummerston are doing, please talk to me about that afterwards. And Katie, did you want to say something about that?
Well, I do. And now I would like to welcome Paul Cameron, who works in Brattleboro with Energy and is the regional coordinator for Efficiency Vermont for the Vermont Home Energy Challenge, a font of information. And let's welcome Paul. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. What I want to do tonight is just talk about a little bit about the energy-saving opportunities that are available through the challenge. And I want to start off by asking, how many people here have completed a comprehensive home energy project within the last 5 years? And I'm talking about, putting in insulation, air sealing, that kind of thing. Wow, so a good number of you. Just briefly, if a couple of you could say how that went for you. Anyone?
1,320 gallons when I moved in, 600 gallons a year now.
Awesome.
Great. It included replacing 2 older furnaces with a new furnace, but there were a lot of that with the ceiling things.
Great. Do you know how much you're saving per year?
Well, maybe 600 times $4,
$2,500.
$2,500 a year.
Wow.
I tell people it's the comfort. Don't do energy efficiency simply to save money. I mean, you will be using parts of your house you don't dare go in the wintertime. You'll be opening doors that you've shut off. You don't have to wear a heavy sweater all the time. I mean, you can actually live. I tell you, when you're burning 1,320 gallons, you stay cold. But that's what a lot of people forget about, is just the absolute comfort of being able to move around a house without having a whole lot of cold spots.
Yeah.
And the cheapest thing I did cost $31.25, and that was sealing the hot air heating ducts with mastic. And that moved heat way in places of the house. And it took me not a day, an easy day, and $30 per gallon. I was stunned. I couldn't believe because you were losing so much of the compression to move that hot air, and just sealing those ducts. $30, and literally you could do it in half a day.
Did you pay him to come to
I
Did you do most of the work yourself, or?
No, Thermal House did some. I did a lot of it myself. And one thing I will say is that I worked really hard and put in lots and lots of bad insulation. And after dealing with Thermal House, ripped out just tons. I mean, I spent, 40 or 50 hours putting it in and ripped every piece of it out. I had over the front door, there were just big cavernous areas, and sealed all those things up. But we did everything with foams and board, but it was quite a lesson in how wretched bad insulation is. You know, it is as evil as incandescent light bulbs.
Or worse.
More so, actually. But it really was quite a. And if I hadn't worked with Thermal House, I wouldn't. You know, I read these things, but you got to work side by side with people to really learn. And the other thing, I'll just, since I got the floor for a minute, taking all the baseboard off upstairs, because in an old house, which we had, you know, you can just pump that stuff in. And their Thermal House wasn't going to do this. So I just went out and lifted it all. Our house, by the way, had blown-in insulation, but lots of empty bays. And, I mean, I was 1,320 gallons, and I thought the house was insulated. But it was just taking up, ripping out all that baseboard. And then you can just pump that, blow that stuff down or up. And I think it made a big difference.
Thanks, John. That's a great success story. Anyone else? Yes.
I did a similar job. I have a drafty farmhouse and had a couple of blower door tests for baseline. I did it twice because the man who did it first moved away, and so I had to do it a second time to get a proper starting point. And I was able to reduce the leakage of the house by 30%. And I got $1,000 back from Energy Vermont. My total investment, aside from my labor, I did all the work myself pretty much, my total investment was $4,700. And that was mostly some insulation, but mostly caulk. Spray foam, and I discovered what the house was made of by creeping into all of the knee wall spaces and so on. And the comfort in the house is dramatic. I'm using a lot more wood this winter than I did last year, so it's hard to compare the fuel use. But the comfort, as you say, the comfort of the house is remarkable. The whole house can be heated with one wood burning stove. So I'm extremely happy to have done it.
That's great. Well, yeah, I think the most important thing that I could convey to you tonight is that if you haven't done a project like these folks have done, you're losing money. It's like your house is just leaking dollar bills every day. So it's a great investment, and Tad is going to talk about the money side of it and financing, but it really is a great investment to weatherize your home. Does anyone know what the price of a gallon of fuel oil was in 1999? Anybody have any idea?
I think it was 99 cents.
Yeah, it was 99 cents. So obviously it's gone up, what, 400%?
$2.13 now.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
That price.
$4.
Yeah, no, I mean, but in 1999, 99 cents. Never mind.
It's gone up a lot.
Yes.
I got it.
So Efficiency Vermont has compiled some statistics and estimated that the average Vermonter can save 20 to 30% on their home heating bills by doing a project like these folks have done, which is you can save an average of $1,000 per household per year, which is really a lot of money, and that's money that's staying in our local communities, supporting jobs. Excuse me. It's not going out of our communities to pay oil companies. So it has a lot of multiple benefits. Also, in addition to the energy savings, there's some really great incentives as part of the challenge. And someone mentioned the incentive from Efficiency Vermont. You can get up to $2,100 from Efficiency Vermont to help pay for your project. You can get up to $500 from the federal government as a tax credit. As Katie mentioned, several local contractors are offering energy audits for $250, which is $150 off the normal price. And here in Dummerston, a donor is offering $100 more off the cost of an audit, up to 24 audits. So you could do it for $150, which is a great deal. And if you go ahead and do a project with that contractor of at least $2,000, they will credit you back that amount. So it's essentially you're getting a free energy audit, which is a really great deal.
So they credit $250 for the audit if you do $2,000 worth of work. So it's effectively getting $2,250 worth of value.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So I've had a question about the audit. So you do an audit in the beginning, but then in order to be able to determine what your airflow decrease is, you have to have a blower door test at the end?
Yes.
And so is that part of your initial audit?
Yes.
Or do you pay for that separately?
No,
It's
part of
included.
it.
It's
It's
included?
You get
Okay.
a blower door test at the beginning,
Yeah.
and then at the end.
Okay, and that contractor will do that. That's part of the job.
They
If
call
you-
it a test in and a test out.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Alex.
And if you want to do the work yourself, which is an option for people who want to save money on the labor costs, you still need an auditor to come in and do a blower door test beforehand and after, just to make sure that that airflow has been reduced.
Yeah.
But you can do the work yourself and still get the incentives. Eric?
So to clarify, and I guess I should know this because I attended a couple months ago, but the person who does the blower door test is establishing the performance of the house. Are they making a series of recommendations that then would be carried out by the contractor, or do you have to hire a contractor to make this series of recommendations?
Normally you would go ahead and hire the person who did the audit to do the additional work. You don't have to, but that's normally what people do.
So what I'm trying to understand is I pay in Dummerston $150 for my blower door test.
Right.
Do I now have a punch list of what should be done in my house?
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
part of the
I'll be
audit.
covering that.
Okay. All right, I'll hold the rest of my questions in private.
And it's about your house, too.
Thank you.
Another benefit is that you can, if you don't have the money for an energy audit, you can sign up for a free energy visit from a team of volunteers. And a trained team of volunteers will come in, and they won't do an audit, but they'll do a walkthrough and they'll identify some opportunities for savings and give you some information. So I just wanted to briefly go over what a team of volunteers or an energy auditor would cover in your home. They would probably sit down with you and ask if you have drafts in your home, or you have ice dams, which are or icicles that form because heat is leaking through your roof and melting the snow on your roof, and it forms ice dams and icicles. It's a real common sign that you need more insulation in your attic. They'll ask if you have mold or moisture issues in your house, which are really common, and those need to be addressed. They'll look for thermal saving opportunities. They'll look in your attic to see if it's properly insulated. If you have a hatch door into your attic, it should be weather stripped and insulated. The walls should be properly insulated. The basement sills and the walls should be insulated. If you have a bulkhead door, it should be air sealed and insulated. Your windows and doors should be weather stripped, and your fireplace, if you have one, should be closed off. It's similar, useful to think about the analogy of a sweater and a windbreaker when thinking about weatherizing a house. The sweater is analogous to the insulation. That's what holds in the heat. And then the weather stripping and air sealing is like a windbreaker. It keeps air from flowing through your house, keeps cold air from being drawn in. So you really need both of those to have your house properly weatherized. You need the insulation and the air sealing. So now I want to pass out a copy of a worksheet that we use in our program. And I'll just pass that around. And this is just a tool to help you quickly figure out how efficient your house is. And you can take this home and figure it out. What you need to know is the amount of fuel you use to heat your home, whether it's gallons of oil, cords of wood, etc. You can record that on the sheet, and then you multiply that by the number of BTUs per whatever the unit is, as listed on the sheet. You get a total BTUs used to heat your home, and then you divide that number by your total square feet of the house. And what you're after is the number of BTUs per square feet. And if that number is above 40,000, then it's a good indicator that you have opportunities for energy saving. And you should probably go ahead and get an energy audit. So I encourage you all to fill that out and see how your home is doing. Let's see. In addition to thermal savings, there are electrical saving opportunities, such as lighting, putting in CFLs, power strips, replacing old refrigerators. Newer refrigerators are much more efficient. Ones that have been manufactured in the last 10 years are much more efficient than older refrigerators. And Efficiency Vermont will come and pick up your old refrigerator and actually pay you to do that. And starting in May, you can send away for a free energy savings kit from Efficiency Vermont. This has an advanced power strip. It has 2 CFLs. One is a 3-way CFL, and one is a 13-watt. And then there's a faucet aerator to help you reduce your water use. So those will be available starting in May, and if you're interested, leave your information with Katie, and she'll make sure that you get one of these.
I'm going to pass a sheet around for people to sign. Well, you'll give me your phone number and name, and then I'll call you for more information. Unfortunately, the application cards aren't ready, so it's a labor-intensive effort, but it's important.
Yep.
And if I can elaborate on that energy savings kit, at first I was trying to think, why would I in particular want to have a low flow faucet head in my house when I have a well? I don't care. It comes out of the ground over here and it goes in the ground over there. Mm-hmm. But I think the idea is that half the water that's going through that faucet is heated, and that heating water is using, energy. Mm-hmm. And then the power saving power strip is basically a way to turn off all of your phantom loads in your house, like your VCR that still shows the clock, and your cell phone charger that little cube in the wall is always drawing some amount of current. So it's a way to not lose things and just with one button turn everything off. So it's different than the ones you buy in the store.
And you should replace shower heads too. You can get shower heads now that you can't tell the difference between the old and the new shower head. You seem to be getting just as much water, but it's cutting down on your water considerably. And like you say, it's reducing the heated water, so you're saving on fuel as well. Further questions?
Yeah, you've been involved in all different things recently in Brattleboro. What other things have you been doing?
We've been doing an inventory of our streetlights. Our streetlights are all being replaced with LEDs, and I think about a third of them have been replaced. And we're going around. The Energy Committee is going around and seeing if their lights would be turned off in certain areas. So we're working on that. We have a 10-person Energy Committee, which was started in 2009. Very active. I work with them on projects. We're pursuing a solar project that would sell net metering credits to the town. We're it's sort of in the midst of that. The Home Energy Challenge, obviously, doing a lot with that. Those are the main things right now.
The school is evaluating whether to install a pellet boiler.
High school? Which school?
No.
All different schools, right?
High school has one.
High school has one.
Well, it has
No,
a
it's
chip.
school,
It has a chip
Phoenix.
system.
The high school has
I think it might be Academy School.
Academy School, right? Is
Yeah.
investigating whether than one.
And so is the Dummerston school, actually.
The payback would be just like 2 years. It's,
Wow.
Yeah.
yeah.
We're helping Dummerston do that too.
Yeah.
Other questions? All right, well, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, so we get to follow up on a couple of things that he was talking about. We're going to have Tad talk about the financing piece in a moment, but there are 3 ways that people in Dummerston obviously can participate in this Vermont Home Energy Challenge. One is that you can sign up for an energy audit. One is that you can sign up for a home energy visit. And the third is that you can volunteer. And we have already some trained volunteers, as he was saying. It does take training, but it is possible if you already have some basic understanding of this to watch the video and get trained even from here. Hopefully there'll be a lot of demand for it. But those people who have been trained as home visit volunteers, will you please stand up?
So, Fred, who's not here.
Thank you.
And Fred, who's not here. Yes. So, yes.
And we also have people who are volunteering who have not been trained.
Yes.
Who are here.
Yes, that would be me. And this person has volunteered possibly to do a workshop on doing the do-it-yourself.
And we have John.
And John. So yeah, you guys should put your heads together in this workshop since you've already started to educate us about how to do it yourself. The home volunteers are a really important part of this. They can be in 2 ways. One is, just as was talked about here, in terms of that you're actually going into people's homes after we've learned about how to assess everything and give them information. That's a piece. But the other piece is that we really need to reach out to our neighbors and let them know that this is available. So that's another layer of volunteering. And it really ties into what we're trying to do as transition, because these are the people that really we're going to be dependent on, interdependent with in important ways. Wherever we live, wherever we are, increasingly it's going to be these people. And we want to help each other, because if we're all using less energy, there's going to be some advantages in the system. And we can learn from each other. When we go to the next steps, we go to more renewable energy. That'll make a difference too. If we get into tool sharing, there's all kinds of things that can come out of getting to know our neighbors a little bit more and reaching out in this way. So we want to all have the opportunity to sign up to either be a volunteer or to, if you're interested already in either the volunteer home energy visit or home energy audit, we have sign-up sheets for those tonight, which Katie knows where they are, and maybe she has them.
Yes.
So we will pass them around. And is there anything else before we go on to Tad? Yes, yes, please.
I just want to say, people who have done projects, like the 2 gentlemen who spoke, are really effective spokespeople for this project. I mean, and in Brattleboro, we're asking people who have done projects to put up yard signs. We have some of them here tonight. And also, we're asking some of them to host home energy parties, where you would invite a few friends and neighbors to come to your home, have a little bit tour, have your contractor there to talk about the work that's been done. Because there's no better ambassadors for this program than people who have actually done it, and they've seen the benefits, they've seen the savings and the comfort, the increased comfort.
That's a great recommendation. So we'll have a little house tour and house parties.
Yeah.
It's not as sexy as solar, but much more cost effective.
Right.
Okay.
Before we move, the question that I would really like some help on is, obviously a lot of people are not taking advantage. I mean, even after they get the blower door test, they're not taking the next step.
Right.
I would like to know what the feedback has been. I mean, why aren't people taking advantage of these opportunities? What is it, economics? Is it they just don't want change? A lot of people just don't want anything different in their lives, including energy efficiency.
That's a really great question. What I found and what I've heard from others is that the main barrier is financial. Is people want to do it, but they just don't have the money up front. There is a certain segment of the population that has, $10,000 or $20,000 saved that they can use. Then there's a segment that is low income that qualifies for SEVCA's program, but the majority of people are in that middle group that they don't have the money saved to do the project, but they want to do a project. So I think Tad is going to talk about some ways that you can finance projects effectively and make it pay. And that's what people have to understand, that it's an investment, but it pays off in the end.
And that's where it's so important to have these volunteers, to have these conversations too, because I think that if you haven't talked to anybody about what's possible, including the savings part of it, then you really are not going to make the step.
I would just say that open houses, in my experience, are a waste of my time and anybody else's. I mean, we had one with Efficiency Vermont. We had 2 people show up, and it was in the Reformer, and big deal. I mean, we outnumbered a couple that came from, I forget, they drove a long distance. And we had another one where nobody showed up. And it was in the newspaper. So the idea that if, we're going to open our homes and so forth, it sounds awfully good, like lots of things sound good. But I think that reaching out and dealing with people one-on-one and so forth is the way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that may be a later step, like we were thinking about after we had some of these initial conversations.
I think it's
having a workshop.
If you get a critical mass of people that are doing it, then you might. But we were really quite disappointed, when we had all of this publicity and so forth, and we had all the food and contractor representatives, and it was a nice day.
Well, we're hoping it's going to be different. I mean, we're getting a lot of publicity for this, and we're actually...
Well, I think this is different. This is totally different.
We're going to do a home tour and open house on Saturday, May 4th. Maybe have 4 or 5 homes that people can visit, go around. We'll have the contractors there to talk about the work they did. I think it's going to be fun, and hopefully we'll get a decent group out.
Meaning in Brattleboro.
It'll be in Brattleboro, yeah.
Can you have a control house that's totally drafty and leaky? And it's May, so it won't be so bad.
There's probably lots of them.
I would just add, John, that I see 2 prongs in the reluctance, 2 main things. One is the financing, and another is that the person has the audit done, and the auditor says, I can come back and do all this work for you. And the person says, how do I know if I can trust this person? And what they're telling me is real and accurate, and if they're just not trying to sell me a bill of goods.
I've heard that, Tad. I've heard a couple of people mention that.
And that's actually, I have started a business to address both of these problems as an independent consultant to come in and say, this makes sense, this makes sense, this makes sense, and these things don't make sense for you. And I have no vested interest in what they put into their house or not. Shall I just start?
Well,
With a second
actually,
opinion.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Or an advocate.
yeah. Well, if you can hold that thought for a moment, there are a few things that I do want to talk about first. And one thing is the energy pledge that Efficiency Vermont asks us to take. And when we were at town meeting, we had people take this pledge. We're actually sweetening the pledge by having a lottery, which is why I've got these pledges in the jar. I would like to hand these out to people, and if you want to fill this out, it says that you pledge to do certain things to be more energy efficient, and then you give your contact information. I think Efficiency Vermont, in its hope to reach more people, will appreciate getting your contact information, and then we'll be in touch from time to time, I believe through the mail or the email, depending on what you put out on your card, and you'll be able to hear about more incentives and programs from Efficiency Vermont.
So tell them what they do.
Right. What do you-
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to have this, when we get all the pledges that people want to take them, we're going to raffle this book. It's Alex Wilson's book, Your Green Home. And we already had some winners from town meeting. We had four gifts at that time. There was a huge group of people, a hydrometer, thermometer, and 3 books. We had Linda Rubenstein, Ezekiel Goodban, Kelly Carlin, and Jody Kramer win these. So anyway, if you fill out,
You may be next.
you may be next, and of course, do I have enough pens for everybody? No. But who would like a pen?
So Katie, don't you also get the energy kit? Can you fill this out too?
No, you don't.
You don't?
That's a different one. That's different. It says save over $650 a year with using this kit of light bulb.
Why wouldn't it work that you just do the names and you get that kit? Isn't that?
That's because Efficiency Vermont isn't doing
Not
it that
efficient.
way. I think they ran out of these kits, perhaps.
They're not doing. They don't come out until May. I know that.
And so now there will be a new amount of them available in May, and one does have to apply, writing a card, an application card, and sending it to Efficiency Vermont. Like you'll receive that in the mail. You'll receive your energy savings kit in the mail, and it's more than a $50 value, I think.
I think so.
Why couldn't they just take the names on the credit cards and?
Because the kits, I think they're sent from Nevada somewhere. It's a separate company that sends them out. So the card goes to Nevada rather than to Efficiency Vermont.
Not everybody
Fulfillment.
who signs up for this challenge necessarily wants it.
Right.
And they didn't ask you, Ken, on how to do it.
I would.
I think that was the thing. Shall I put any of these applications or these pledges in here yet? Okay. I guess you can fold them in half, and then they'll be easier to take. Nope. Okay. Thank you. Well, anyway, at the end of the program, I'll draw, and we'll see who the winner is.
I think they're signed.
I've got this clipboard maybe for energy audits. And do we have these other 2 lists? Do we have a volunteer list in this other one?
I have the energy audit list on one side, and then when that comes around, we'll send on the energy savings kit.
I'm thinking maybe we can review.
Well, we can. Well, okay, we can do this. What? So we sign up for 3 things in one go around. Is that what you're recommending? I tell you what.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of time.
Let's just.
Yeah.
No.
I thought there were already lists for these things.
Okay, so if you'd like an energy audit, and this is, as I say, the energy audit is the big way that Efficiency Vermont can start testing your need for weatherization and the amount that you have successfully done. So the in and the out of the blower door test is important. And as we say, it's reduced now to $150, $400 value
For Dummerston people.
for the first 24 Dummerstonians who sign up. So,
Since it's a very similar thing, I put the home energy visit with the same, going around at the same time. So if you want to do one or the other, you can sign whichever one you're ready for.
So the home energy bid is a walkthrough that's free. That will come
Right.
It's costing anything at all.
Yeah, the home energy visit, is something that volunteers do. Excuse me?
She had a question, I was just directing her to you first, and then if you don't answer her question, she can answer.
Okay. Who has the question?
Oh, I signed up for the home energy audit, so it's
Great.
either or. Is that right? Or
The home energy audit? Well, you can
Yes.
sign up for an energy audit. We certainly recommend that. And you can sign up for a visit, a home energy visit.
But you'd want to visit first,
Not necessarily.
probably, because they would give you an overall view before the expert audit people came in.
That's a possibility. I mean, some people know that they want the audit.
Right, so they wouldn't need the walkthrough at
And
all.
they wouldn't need the free visit, right?
They wouldn't
Right.
need the visit at all. And so it's really up to an individual to decide whether
Because the visit is free, and the audit costs money. So
Right.
the goal is to get in somebody's front door and get them thinking about it. And that's the free part.
From the volunteer perspective, from the homeowner's perspective, it's like if you know you're already ready to make a pretty solid investment, or you're thinking seriously about making a solid investment, definitely sign up for an audit.
Yeah.
Right.
If you have questions about that, you might want to sign up for a home energy visit first. Because then you'll get a kind of an idea of how big the issue is and what you might, what you might do on your own.
Okay. All right,
I
well,
wanted you to know about a couple of things that are coming up, especially next month.
Next month, our meeting is on April 26th, and we know everybody will be anxious to get in their gardens, but April will do its usual cruel tricks and frustrate us because the ground will still be a little cold. But we're going to talk about gardens, and we're going to talk about how we hope to extend the Sharing Our Surplus program over the summer. And Sharing Our Surplus is, last summer we started having a couple places around Dummerston where people could leave their extra produce and they could swap it out with somebody's tomatoes for somebody else's zucchini, and then the excess went to the drop-in shelter. So we're hoping to encourage people to maybe plant a little more, share a little more, and gardens, as you know, spread all over. And the ideas with this, our committee has met. We're hoping to do a garden tour, a vegetable garden tour this summer, and we have some other ideas for just investigating what does Dummerston need more of in terms of locally grown produce.
Yes.
And trying to build resilience in our community by just giving vegetable gardens and gardening a higher profile. So we'll have a slate of speakers and projects around that for April.
Ah, great.
Yes.
Maybe some ideas from community gardens too.
That's right, and yes, that too.
All right. Wonderful. And then we may have follow-up from tonight and some kind of workshop for homeowners wanting to do their own weatherization. And there was an idea that came out of the meeting we had earlier today on the solar batch water heaters to do hand pumps, to have some kind of workshop on pumps that will supplement our electric pumps for when the power goes out. So, and another announcement.
I'd just like to make an announcement real quick. My name is Nick Zeider. I've been working for the past year to bring a community solar array to Putney, and I'm happy to say that it's going up in June. It's 150 kilowatts, and
we're called Button Up. It's a 31-minute how-to presentation showing a house that a contractor goes through and looks for areas that need insulation. And so we're hoping that we will have a successful home energy party or gathering in the future, so keep your ears tuned and your eyes peeled for information about this. I think maybe the Energy Committee would be a place, and the town, or Dummerston.com would be a place to publicize these things. So, to weatherization, to saving energy.
And our planet. And thank you to all our guests, to Paul and Ted and Geraldine, and to everyone. And we hope we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
So that you can get
Thank you.